Jack the Giant Slayer is a 2013 American heroic fantasy adventure film based on the British fairy tales Jack the Giant Killer and Jack and the Beanstalk. The film is directed by Bryan Singer with a screenplay written by Darren Lemke, Christopher McQuarrie and Dan Studney and stars Nicholas Hoult, Eleanor Tomlinson, Stanley Tucci, Ian McShane, Bill Nighy and Ewan McGregor. The film tells the story of Jack, a young farmhand who must rescue a princess from a race of giants after inadvertently opening a gateway to the land in the sky. Development of Jack the Giant Slayer began in 2005, when Lemke first pitched the idea. DJ Caruso was hired to direct the film in January 2009, but in September of that year, Caruso was replaced by Singer, who hired McQuarrie and Studney to rework the script. The main characters were cast between February and March 2011, and principal photography began in April 2011 in England with locations in Somerset, Gloucestershire and Norfolk. Release of the film was moved back in post-production to allow more time for special effects and marketing. Jack the Giant Slayer premiered on February 26, 2013 in Hollywood and was released theatrically in the United States on March 1, 2013 in 2D and 3D. The film received mixed reviews from critics and is considered a box office failure, losing between $125 million and $140 million for Legendary Pictures. Jack the Giant Slayer was released on home media on June 18, 2013. Plot: in the Kingdom of Cloister, Jack, a young farm boy, is fascinated by the legend of Eric, an ancient king who defeated an army of invading giants from a realm in the sky by controlling them with a magical crown. At the same time, Princess Isabel becomes fascinated with the same legend. 10 years later, Jack goes into town to sell his horse to support his uncle's farm. There, Jack spots Isabel and becomes enamored with her after defending her honor from a group of hooligans. Meanwhile, Lord Roderick returns to his study, only to find that a monk has robbed him. The monk offers Jack some magic beans he stole from Roderick as collateral for Jack's horse. Back at the castle, Isabel quarrels with her father King Bramwell as she wants to explore the kingdom, but he wants her to stay and marry Roderick. Likewise, Jack's uncle scolds him for being foolish before throwing the beans on the floor and leaving the house. Determined to be free, Isabel sneaks out of the castle and seeks shelter from the rain in Jack's house. As it rains, one of the beans takes root and grows into a massive beanstalk that carries the house and Isabel into the sky as Jack falls to the ground. Jack, Roderick, and Roderick's attendant Wicker volunteer to join the King's Knights, led by Elmont and his second-in-command, Craw, and climb the beanstalk in search of Isabel. As they climb, Roderick and Wicker cut the safety rope, intentionally killing some of the knights. At the top, they discover the giants realm and decide to split into two groups, one with Jack, Elmont, and Craw, and the other including Roderick and Wicker, but not before Roderick forcibly takes the remaining beans from Jack. Jack's group is trapped by a giant, who takes everyone prisoner except Jack. Meanwhile, Roderick's group encounters two other giants. One eats Wicker, but before they can do the same to Roderick, Roderick dons the magic crown. Jack follows the giant to the stronghold, where the two-headed giant leader, Fallon, has killed Craw. There, Jack finds the imprisoned Isabel and Elmont. As the giants prepare to kill the remaining prisoners, Roderick walks in and enslaves the giants with the crown. He tells the giants they will attack Cloister at dawn and gives them permission to eat Isabel and Elmont. Jack rescues Isabel and Elmont as one of the giants prepares to cook Elmont as a pig in a blanket. The trio makes for the beanstalk, where Jack causes the giant guarding the beanstalk to fall off the realm's edge. Seeing the giant's body, Bramwell orders the beanstalk cut down to avoid an invasion by the giants. Jack and Isabel head down the beanstalk, while Elmont stays to confront Roderick. Elmont kills Roderick, but Fallon takes the crown before Elmont can claim it, and Elmont is forced to escape down the beanstalk. Jack, Isabel, and Elmont all survive the fall after the beanstalk is cut down. As everyone returns home, Jack warns that the giants are using Roderick's beans to create beanstalks to descend down to Earth and attack Cloister. The giants chase Jack, Isabel, and Bramwell into the castle, where Elmont fills the moat with oil and sets it on fire. Fallon falls in the moat and breaks into the castle from below. As the siege continues, Fallon captures Jack and Isabel, but Jack throws the final bean down Fallon's throat, causing a beanstalk to rip apart his body. Jack takes the crown and sends the giants back to the realm. Jack and Isabel marry and tell the story of the giants to the children. As time passes, the magic crown is crafted into St. Edward's crown and is secured in the Tower of London. Cast: Nicholas Hoult as Jack, a young farmhand who leads the quest to rescue the princess. Hoult was selected from a short list of actors that included Aaron Johnson and Aneurin Barnard. Eleanor Tomlinson as Isabel, the princess who is abducted by giants. Adelaide Kane, Lily Collins and Juno Temple also screen-tested for the role. Stanley Tucci as Lord Roderick, the king's advisor who plans on taking over the kingdom. Ian McShane as King Bramwell, the princess's father, who wants his daughter to marry Lord Roderick. Bill Nighy and John Cassier as General Fallon, the two-headed leader of the giants. Nighy plays the bigger head and Cassier plays the smaller head. Ewan McGregor as Elmont, the captain of the King's Guard, who joins the quest to rescue the princess. Additionally, Eddie Marsan plays Craw, Elmont's second-in-command, and Ewan Bremner plays Wicker, Lord Roderick's attendant. Production, development. Screenwriter Darren Lemke first proposed the idea of contemporizing the Jack and the Beanstalk fairy tale with CGI in 2005 before the release of other contemporary films based on fairy tales such as Alice in Wonderland, Red Riding Hood and Snow White and the Huntsman. Lemke described the script as a male-oriented story of a boy becoming a man, and drew parallel between Jack and Luke Skywalker of Star Wars. In January 2009, New Line Cinema hired DJ Caruso to direct the script, which was subsequently rewritten by Mark Bomback. By August 2009, it was reported that Bryan Singer might be replacing Caruso. This became official in September 2009. In April 2010, Singer re-teamed with screenwriter Christopher McQuarrie to rework the screenplay. Singer and McQuarrie had previously collaborated on Public Access, The Usual Suspects, Apt Pupil and Valkyrie. Singer stated, "Chris McQuarrie did a significant rewrite for me. He brought a different structure. It was very much a page-one situation, a different storyline. It involved the same characters but some we juggled around and switched around. He just brought a very different perspective." McQuarrie's rewrite included a deeper backstory for the giants and explanation of the relationship with the humans, which Singer considered a vast improvement. It also upped the budget. To get the budget back in line, Singer brought in television writer Dan Studney to work on the project. In May 2010, Real's channel reported that production of the film would be delayed until February 2011. The report cited Singer's interest in being able to pre-visualize scenes with the digital giants in camera with the live-action actors and the need for more time to work out the complex process as reasons for the delay. Pre-production. In October 2010, New Line gave Bryan Singer the green light to begin pre-production work on Jack the Giant Killer, with production scheduled to begin the following spring. In November 2010, Singer began screen testing for the male and female leads. Aaron Johnson, Nicholas Hoult, and Adniran Barnard were considered for the role of the young farmhand, and Adelaide Kane, Lily Collins, and Juno Temple tested for the princess role. In December 2010, Singer said, "I'm very much looking forward to using the epic Red for my next movie Jack the Giant Killer, which will be shot in, what else, 3D. The camera's incredibly compact size and extraordinary resolution are ideal for the 3D format. But more importantly, Jack the Giant Killer is my first movie set in a time before electricity. The epic's extraordinary exposure latitude will allow me to more effectively explore the use of natural light." In February 2011, The Hollywood Reporter reported that Stanley Tucci had been cast as the antagonist, the king's advisor who plans on taking over the kingdom, and Bill Nighy and John Cassier were cast as Fallon, the two-headed leader of the giants. Nighy would play the big head and Cassier would play the smaller head. Also in February, Nicholas Hoult was offered the lead role. Singer said he had liked him since Skins and was very supportive of his casting in X-Men: First Class. Later that month, Ewan McGregor joined the cast as the leader of the King's elite guard, who helps fight giants. In March 2011, Eleanor Tomlinson was cast opposite Nicholas Hoult as the princess, and Ian McShane was cast to play her father, King Bramwell. 2 days later, New Line and Warner Brothers announced a release date of June 15, 2012. Filming principal photography began on April 12, 2011, in the British countryside. In May 2011, production moved to Somerset, England for 2 weeks, with filming scheduled in Wells, Cheddar and secret locations in the county, including scenes filmed at Wells Cathedral. Also in May, scenes were shot at Puzzlewood in the Forest of Dean near Colford, Gloucestershire. Puzzlewood, which features unusual tree and rock formations, has previously been used for filming of the BBC TV series Doctor Who and Merlin. The same forest is said to have inspired J.R. Tolkien to write The Hobbit. Later that month, filming took place at Norwich Cathedral in Norwich, Norfolk. About the performance capture process, Singer stated, "It's fascinating. It takes you back to play acting as a kid in your living room because you are running around and having to imagine that you are in Gantua and imagine that there are these weapons and all these giant things. But there's nothing when you are there other than styrofoam and blocks. It forces the actors to regress to when they would play act as kids at a minimalist theater. But in that way it's fascinating. I can see why Robert Zemeckis and James Cameron have started to shoot pictures this way." Post-production. In January 2012, Warner Brothers moved back the release date by 9 months, from June 15, 2012 to March 22, 2013. The Hollywood Reporter stated, "Warner can lightly afford the move because of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, which opened in July, and moving the film back gives the studio more time for special effects, as well as a chance to attach trailers for it to Peter Jackson's Christmas tentpole The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey." In October 2012, Warner Brothers again moved the release date, this time to March 1, 2013, 3 weeks earlier than the previous date. Warner Brothers also changed the title of the film from Jack the Giant Killer to Jack the Giant Slayer. The film's special effects were completed by 7 different visual effects houses: Digital Domain, Giant Studios, The Third Floor, MPC, Soho VFX, Rodeo FX and Hatch Productions. Creating the Giants took 4 main steps. The first step was pre-capture, in which performance capture was used to capture the actors' facial and body movements and render them in a real-time virtual environment. The second step took place during principal photography, where simulcam technology was used to help the human characters virtually interact with the giants that were rendered earlier in pre-capture. The third step was post-capture, a second performance capture shoot to adjust giants' movements to seamlessly fit the live-action performances. The final step involved putting the finishing touches on the giants' animation, skin, hair and clothing, and composition in the shots. Creating the Beanstalk involved 2 main requirements: set extension for shots of the actors interacting with the Beanstalk, which were shot against a blue screen, and complete CG renderings for shots of the Beanstalk growing and extending from Earth into the world of the giants. Singer stated that he had to tone down the special effects to keep the film age-appropriate for children. He said, "This movie probably has a bigger on-screen body count than any movie I've done before. It's done in a way that's fun, but it was a challenge to get away with that without it becoming upsetting to people." It was about creating a tone like Raiders of the Lost Ark, a Star Wars that allows you to get away with a lot of stuff because it feels like a movie. Soundtrack. The film's soundtrack features music by John Ottman, who also served as an editor and associate producer on the film. Jack the Giant Slayer marks Ottman's 7th collaboration with director Bryan Singer. They previously worked together on Public Access, The Usual Suspects, Apt Pupil X2, X-Men United, Superman Returns, and Valkyrie. The soundtrack album was released on February 26, 2013, by Water Tower Music. Release. Jack the Giant Slayer premiered on Tuesday, February 26, 2013 at TCL Chinese Theatre in Hollywood, California. Box office. Pre-release tracking showed that Jack the Giant Slayer was projected to gross $30 million to $35 million in its opening weekend, a disappointing figure considering it cost at least $185 million to produce. The film grossed $400,000 from Thursday night and midnight runs, ahead of its wide release open on Friday, March 1, 2013. Through the weekend, the film grossed $28.01 million in North America at 3,525 locations, taking first place at the box office. The audience was 55% male and 56% were over the age of 25, despite the studio's efforts to target families. At the same time, the film took in an additional $13.7 million in 10 Asian markets at 1,824 locations. 4 weeks into its theatrical run, The Hollywood Reporter reported that the film was on track to lose between $125 million and $140 million for Legendary Pictures, suggesting that the film would likely close at $200 million worldwide, short of its combined production and marketing budget. Jack the Giant Slayer closed in theaters on June 13, 2013, grossing a total of $65,187,603 in North America and $197,687,603 worldwide. In explaining its box office failure, analysts pointed to the conflict between the director's darker, more adult-themed vision with the studio's desire for a family-friendly product, leading to the final compromise of a PG-13 film that did not sufficiently appeal to adults or children. Critical reception. Jack the Giant Slayer received a mixed response from film critics. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a rating of 51%, based on an aggregation of 195 reviews, with an average rating of 5.7/10. The site's critical consensus reads, "It's enthusiastically acted and reasonably fun. But Jack the Giant Slayer is also overwhelmed by digital effects and a bland, impersonal story." Metacritic, which uses a weighted mean, assigned a score of 51 out of 100, based on 37 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter said, "Simply in terms of efficient storytelling, clear logistics and consistent viewer engagement, Jack is markedly superior to the recent Hobbit." Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times said, "Jack the Giant Slayer is a rousing, original and thoroughly entertaining adventure." Conversely, Justin Chang of Variety said, "Jack the Giant Slayer feels, unsurprisingly, like an attempt to cash in on a trend, recycling storybook characters, situations and battle sequences to mechanical and wearyingly predictable effect." Manola Dargis of the New York Times said, "This finally is just a digitally souped-up, one-dimensional take on Jack and the Beanstalk." Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times said, "Bryan Singer's take on the old fairy tale has all things money can buy, except a good script." Accolades Home Media. In April 2013, Warner Bros. Home Entertainment announced the release of Jack the Giant Slayer on Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray disc and DVD. The discs were released on June 18, 2013 in two editions, a 3-disc 3D, Blu-ray, DVD combo pack, and a 2-disc Blu-ray, DVD combo pack. Both sets include the Become a Giant Slayer featurette, deleted scenes, gag reel and a digital copy of the film.